I just want to share with you some strategies for having the difficult conversation. And as you're listening to them, just think through what are 2 or 3 that feel natural to you, that feel like you could start using them, that would help you better prepare for and have difficult conversations. So, I think the first one is you want to prepare for that conversation. So often, we kind of go in and we don't even know what we're going to say or how we're going to say it. What I always suggest that you do is think about what's the outcome that you want from this conversation. And the other thing that I suggest people do to prepare for a difficult conversation is to deal with the feelings before you go into that conversation. So I will often just have a conversation with my mirror and I will say to that imaginary person all the things that I would never actually say to them. You're making me so mad right now, I'm so frustrated, right? And I just get the feelings out, and then I'm able to go into that conversation a lot more calmly. And I also think it's really important to recognize that that other person is going to have feelings in the conversation. They haven't necessarily had the time to prepare and to deal with their feelings. So just recognize and be comfortable with that and give them space for their feelings. So replace judgment with curiosity. When you go into that difficult conversation full of judgment, full of frustration, you're not going to get a great outcome, right? Whereas if you go in curious, like, oh, I wonder what's going on for this person. I wonder what their perspective on this situation is. It can completely change things. Don't take things personally. I think so often when something happens, 90% of the time it's about the other person, but we take it very personally and we get really caught up in it. And then when we go into the conversation, we've already brought in all those frustrations. So deal with the problem and don't take whatever's going on in a personal way. Just kind of separate the problem and the person. Own your own behavior. Maybe you have done something to contribute to this. So when you start that conversation by owning your behavior, it calms the other person down, and it also leads by example and says, hey, I'm willing to own up. I've done a few things here that haven't gone so well or that have contributed to this. And then hopefully they will also kind of have the same approach. Use I messages, not you messages. So instead of saying you're doing this or you're doing that, it's like, I'm feeling frustrated by this, or I'm really, having a challenge in dealing with this. You want to set the tone for the conversation. So it depends. Maybe this is a casual conversation. You just want to go for a walk. Maybe it's a really important conversation. It needs to happen in an office setting. But just think about the location and what message the location sends. Ideally, I love going for walks. I just think you get out of your office, you get a little bit of fresh air, you start thinking differently, and it's a neutral environment, so no one's feeling threatened. You want to be genuine, direct, and honest. I think that people are really going to respect you when you just come in and you're respectful and you're thoughtful about how you present whatever it is, but you don't beat around the bush, right? You just say, hey, I really want to talk to you about something. It's been bothering me. Here's how I'm seeing the situation. Can we talk about it, right? It's simple, it's direct, respectful, and straightforward. One of my students shared this with me and I just thought, wow, that's like deep and profound. They said, forgive the person before you go into the conversation. And I just thought, wow, if you can do that, right? If you can work through it all and, if you've taken it personally and you're feeling upset, if you can forgive them and let go and then go into the conversation, it's going to be a very different conversation than when you go in all angry and frustrated and worked up. And one of my very favorite quotes is by Maya Angelou. And she says, people will forget what we said, they'll forget what we did, but they'll never forget how we made them feel. And I think that when you go into a difficult conversation, remember that the other person is going to be stressed out and anxious. They may be surprised by this conversation. It might be really difficult for them. So what we want to do is we want to go in and be patient and compassionate and help them understand their impact on us, but not in a mean, judgmental, difficult way, but in a compassionate way. Like, we're all humans, we're all trying to figure this out. So let's work together to try and figure it out. So don't mind read. Often when we're in that difficult conversation and we're stressed out, we can make up stories or kind of, jump to conclusions or assumptions. Ask questions. And, one of my favorite ways to frame a question, especially if I'm in a mind reading place, is like, I think I'm making up a story here and I just want to check it out. Like, is this what you're saying? Or I think I might have misunderstood you. Can you help me understand this more? Right? I think, can you help me understand your perspective? And can you help me understand this? Are really great questions to ask. So hopefully all those strategies are ones that are going to make you feel a lot more comfortable going in to have difficult conversations. Now what we're going to do is you're going to have the opportunity to hear from a few people who have a lot of difficult conversations in their jobs. So Rob Weeks is the president of the Vancouver Firefighters Union. So he has a lot of difficult conversations every day in his job, and he's going to share a few strategies from that. And then Harpinder Hoti is an HR consultant. So she represents the employer and she works in unionized environments and she does a lot of labor relations work. So she also has a lot of difficult conversations. So The next few videos are going to be them sharing a few of their strategies.